You come out and you tell this young lady in the music industry that you're gay. Were there any repercussions about saying that?
It's funny. It's just like church, right? You could be gay, but if you dress a certain way, we'll accept it, especially if you're bringing something to the table, whether you're a choir director, the organist, or the drummer. You know, if you're not, hard to deal with, we can accept it. And that's the hypocrisy.
Hypocrisy of it all. Yeah.
It's like there's so many gay homosexual people in the music industry, including women. It's not just men. I've been in the music industry for over 15 years. There's a lot of homosexuality in the artists and the managements and the record labels themselves, but you can't force people to just come out or to be what you think they should be. You have to respect people's process in progress. But mine, I've always kind of been like ahead. And most of my connections in the Black community, in the music industry, were Black people, right? Most of my contacts, most of the A&Rs, most of the artists and the managers I was dealing with. And so when I started to dress way more feminine, it's like literally one day I was in the studio wearing baggy jeans and God, it's so crazy that I'm even saying this, and fitteds and then the next time they see me, I have blue eyeshadow on my eyes and I'm wearing heels and expect people to just turn it off and accept that. And so that took me some time to really heal from that, blaming people for not just accepting who I am, especially in the Black industry. And it was a lesson that I often try to advise other people, like, you want people to accept you for who you are, but it's very unrealistic that people know and fall in love with one person and you want them to just completely turn that off and look at you as the same person. It's very, very hard to do. So my transition to female as a producer in the Black community was very difficult. It wasn't easy.
So layered, so layered. When you specifically reference being in the Black community, there's taboo associated with it. What was your experience? Because that when I say courage, that takes a lot of courage. I have seen and hear and know how people react. And how were you able to push through?
Well, that was very, like, I don't say groundbreaking, but no, it was groundbreaking. No one in the Black community had ever dealt with a trans woman that was a stable, successful producer, music producers, especially working with multiple rappers. And they didn't know how to deal with that. And the first thing to do as Black people, we like to run and hide rather than having a face-to-face, mature, emotionally balanced discussion about this, and it became a nothing because we shut it off and we get rid of it and you're just dismissed. So that was the experience of coming out as transgender. So all of the awards, the money, the relationships, none of that mattered. Everything went out of the window, just like that. And so the money stopped coming in and opportunity stopped coming in for me.
It was described as blacklisted to me in my research. Is that an appropriate way to describe how you felt once you transitioned in the music industry?
I think that's a really harsh, extreme word, but I was also in denial for years, and I made excuses for all of those people that persecuted me for being myself. I love Black people, and I loved all the people that dismissed me. I made excuses for them. And I suffered. Now, almost 10 years later, I understand that wasn't, that was discrimination. It was very hurtful, and I was absolutely blacklisted, blackballed, or whatever you call it. And it wasn't anything that I did to anyone. It's something that I did for myself, and people took that personal. And I don't know how else I would describe that. I literally lost everything due to that. And I don't regret it. I don't regret it, because I don't know how other way I would have continued to live my life that way.
When you decided to transition, what was the process? And by process, I mean, Was it that you like, I just can't live a lie anymore? You had to come out of this image, this lie, or you had to feel as if you wanted to be at home in your body? What is this process for you?
Yeah. It was very closer to the latter. It's a little cliche to say, but when I was maybe 6, I'm gonna say 7, but definitely 6, I remember saying a prayer to God that I know you made a mistake. I know, God, I know we all make mistakes. You clearly made a mistake by making me a boy. But here's the good news. I will forgive you if you just make me a girl.
Mhm.
And I prayed and cried. And I got beatings for being caught wearing my grandmother's dresses and my mom's dresses and shoes and kissing my brother's friends in the closet, like doing, it was beyond gay. I was never molested. I wasn't exposed to anything homophobic. Nothing was pushed on me. It was natural for me as a child to desire to be a woman, and it's always been something that I wanted to do. But the older I got, it was suppressed because of upbringing, church, girls, the music industry, friends. It wasn't even considered. I didn't consider it. I just always dreamt of it. And so when I started seeing more things publicly and understanding, listen, time is flying. Your life is, this is something you always wanted to do. And I decided to take hormone therapy. But before that, I took therapy for a year with doctors just to talk it through and make sure that I wasn't tripping. And yeah, so but after a year of therapy, I decided to transition.
And so when you now look back on the therapy, the transition physically, and what you perceived as loss, what are your biggest lessons, your biggest takeaways?
Um, well, this process has taught me um, how damaged our community is as Black people. Um, and I don't know whose fault it is. I wanted to blame my dad for things. I wanted to blame my mom. I blamed myself. It was so many things growing up that we could all say, that's why, that's why, that's why. But someone raised my father. Someone raised my grandfather. Someone beat my great grandfather. Someone, and it caused us not to coddle our children, coddle each other emotionally as children. And, we're neglected emotionally, and is extremely damaging, really traumatizing for us as Black people. We rarely get the opportunity to afford a healthy mental childhood. We rarely do. Like it's very harsh growing up as a Black child. And we're used to it. We're used to the punishment, the words, the ass whippings, we already know what it is. It doesn't matter where we are in the world. It's a universal Black thing. We're all raised by the same parents, as they say.
Preach, go, girl, preach.
Yeah, and so I realized through my process of transitioning, it wasn't just the transitioning, it was just mental undoing. And I had to be realistic, not extreme, saying this is wrong, this is wrong. I had to really step out objectively and realistically as a human say what it is that I identify as, or what do I gravitate to, what makes me feel comfortable, what makes me feel proud and safe, and what's natural for me, what is natural. And I had to commit to that, and I wanted to find that and learn and heal with that. But in doing that, those are all the things that I was taught was wrong. I know my father loves me, but it's what's happening with him. I can't blame other Black men and ask them to accept me and respect me if my own father don't. And I don't want to be a hypocrite. My father used to tell me, it's really personal, but I'm okay. My father used to tell me growing up that he and his friends used to beat up gay people and really flamboyant guys in school. Like fight them for no reason, just fight them and beat them up. All the gay boys, like that was the in thing back in the day, And he took pride of that. And now he has not only one transgender daughter, he has 2. I have a sibling that's transgender. So it's like, we're not karma, but at the same time, you have to parents like to fight what they know is in them as well, you know, or what they're fighting. And I don't know what my dad is going through, but you know, it just goes to show, like Blueface, like acting his baby, his child, is he gay at the 5, 6 years old? It's like, why do we do that as parents? It's like, as Black people, it's traumatizing, it's scary to be accused of something that you are or that you aren't in a way that feels vicious and threatening.